my slides. I showed you this tunnel. I told you there is another 3 tunnels. I will show you the 4th one. And this is what I found out, that as we look at the Sphinx today.
For more than 2 centuries, the Rosetta Stone has stood as archaeology's crown jewel, a slab of carved basalt that bridged the gap between ancient silence and modern understanding. It unlocked the lost language of Egypt, turned mystery into meaning, and reminded humanity that patience and brilliance can resurrect entire civilizations. But now, a familiar name has stirred that still water. Zahi Hawass, the most famous Egyptologist alive, claims that the Rosetta Stone still has something left to say. And what it says, he warns, is not good. That's not the kind of statement that slips quietly into the scholarly world. When Hawass speaks, headlines follow. But what exactly could this legendary artifact, studied, translated, and celebrated for more than 200 years, still be hiding? The stone that keeps talking. The Rosetta Stone has always seemed like a closed book. Found in 1799 by Napoleon's soldiers near the town of Rosetta, it carried the same decree written 3 times, once in Greek, once in Demotic, and once in hieroglyphs. That repetition turned out to be humanity's golden ticket, a direct translation key that would eventually allow scholars like Jean-François Champollion to crack the code of ancient Egypt's sacred script. But what if the stone isn't finished talking? On paper, its text is mundane, a royal decree showering Pharaoh Ptolemy V with praise, formalities, and blessings. It's the ancient equivalent of a government bulletin, dry, repetitive, full of self-congratulation. Yet that's what makes it fascinating. Propaganda, after all, is rarely just what it seems. The priests who composed the decree were not only record keepers, they were craftsmen of subtext. Their words served kings, but their loyalties were layered. Hidden meanings, playful irony, coded commentary. These were their tools. What if, buried beneath the surface of reverence, there lies a trace of quiet resistance? Imagine a secret message to future eyes. Frustration or mockery disguised as loyalty. A critique so subtle it could survive the pharaoh's wrath. What if that message endured, hiding in plain sight until today's technology made it visible again? The modern lens, when Champollion deciphered the hieroglyphs in the 1820s, he relied solely on sharp eyes, logic, and luck. Today's archaeologists wield tools he could only dream of. Multispectral imaging allows researchers to bathe the stone in different wavelengths of light. Infrared, ultraviolet, and beyond. What's invisible to the naked eye can appear in haunting clarity. Faint scratches, erased characters, ghostly outlines of what once was. D-laser scanning maps the surface with microscopic precision, detecting the depth of every carved groove, even the slightest alteration. A smoothed patch, a re-chiseled line, can expose a hidden history of editing and rewriting. And AI-assisted linguistics adds another layer. By feeding the text into a machine learning model trained on thousands of Egyptian inscriptions, researchers can spot anomalies in syntax and style. If even one phrase breaks pattern, that could be the breadcrumb leading to something bigger. What if one name was chiseled out and replaced? What if a phrase of rebellion was polished away, its edges faint but not gone? The tiniest scratch could alter centuries of certainty. Suddenly, the Rosetta Stone, the artifact that ended mysteries, becomes one again. The man behind the claim. To understand why this idea is gaining attention, you have to know Zahi Hawass. For decades, he's been Egypt's most visible archaeologist, a man who blends scholarship with showmanship. His wide-brimmed hat and commanding voice have made him as recognizable as the pyramids he studies. He's led excavations, served as Egypt's Minister of Antiquities, and appeared in documentaries that reach millions. But Hawass is also a lightning rod. Admirers hail his charisma and passion, Critics accuse him of theatricality, yet even his detractors agree. He knows how to make the ancient world come alive. So when he declares that the Rosetta Stone holds a hidden message, one that's not good, people listen. That's the paradox of Hawass. Art scholar, art storyteller, art provocateur. He knows how to make history matter to the public. Why it matters. The Rosetta Stone isn't just another relic. It's the artifact that made all other Egyptian relics readable. Before it, the world stared at hieroglyphs as though they were alien markings. Scholars invented wild theories that they were mystical symbols, divine codes, or secret priestly scripts. Then the Rosetta Stone appeared, and with it, a revelation. Hieroglyphs were a real written language, rich and complex, used for poetry, taxes, and prayers alike. When Champollion broke the code, the entire civilization of ancient Egypt began speaking again. Temples, tombs, papyri, and stelae all yielded their voices. The stone became a bridge from mystery to meaning. That's why the notion that it still hides something matters so much. If this artifact, the key to Egyptology itself, still contains secrets, then perhaps our picture of history is far less complete than we've believed. What decoding really means, so what could Hawass mean when he says he's decoded something new? Literal translation isn't the point. We've had that for centuries. The real decoding may lie in interpretation. The Rosetta Stone was carved during a turbulent time. Ptolemy I came to the throne as a child, inheriting a fractured kingdom. The decree celebrates his generosity, his divinity, his kindness. But such excessive praise can also hint at insecurity. When a ruler is truly powerful, he doesn't need propaganda carved in granite. Historians know that royal inscriptions often masked anxiety. Behind the praise could lurk unrest, rebellion, or waning authority. If not good means that the stone exposes weakness or deceit, then maybe its message isn't one of glory, but a desperation. And what if the priests who wrote it, powerful intermediaries between gods and rulers, were slipping in their own commentary? Perhaps the decree, while outwardly loyal, contains double meanings that modern translators, focused on grammar, have overlooked. Decoding, in this sense, means reading beyond the literal, finding the pulse of politics and psychology carved beneath the words. Techniques. Mystery technology is changing archaeology at a breathtaking pace. Ancient scrolls are virtually unrolled. Tombs are explored without being opened. Faded murals reveal new scenes under UV light. Now imagine those tools turned on the Rosetta Stone. What if multispectral scans revealed faint hieroglyphs erased long ago? What if digital models uncovered inconsistencies suggesting it had been recarved? History is full of deliberate erasures. Pharaohs often tried to obliterate rivals by chiseling their names off monuments. Successors replaced their enemies' inscriptions with their own. Entire dynasties rewrote their pasts in stone. If the Rosetta Stone, the artifact that unlocked Egyptian writing, turns out to have been edited in this way, it becomes a time capsule of political manipulation. The very tool we use to uncover truth would itself be a product of concealment. And that would be not good. The psychological shock part of why Hawass's claim resonates is because it challenges our sense of certainty. The Rosetta Stone has always been a symbol of closure. A case, solved moment in history's great detective story. To suggest that it's not solved after all feels like someone telling you the Mona Lisa has hidden brushstrokes or that the Great Pyramid has a secret sublevel. It unsettles our need for finality. But maybe that's the real lesson. History isn't frozen. It's alive, revisable, dynamic. The more we learn, the more we realize how much we don't know. Every final answer eventually cracks open again. If the Rosetta Stone, the most studied object in archaeology, still has secrets, then so does everything else. the bigger picture. This story isn't just about one slab of granite. It's about the ongoing dialogue between the past and the present. For every artifact we've analyzed, there are countless others sitting in museum basements, mislabeled, half-studied, forgotten. If advanced imaging can reveal new data from the Rosetta Stone, imagine what it could uncover in those neglected collections. Half-erased letters, buried graffiti, lost chapters of history waiting for rediscovery. The Rosetta Stone's potential new secret reminds us that archaeology isn't about dusting off the past. It's about listening differently. As our tools evolve, so does our ability to hear the faintest echoes from the ancient world. And maybe that's the real power of this discovery. Not a single shocking revelation, but a humbling reminder. History never stops speaking. It just waits for us to learn its language again. Epilogue. The stone and us. There's a poetic symmetry to all of this. The Rosetta Stone was humanity's bridge to understanding. It transformed gibberish into meaning, silence into voice. Now, centuries later, it challenges us once again, not to decipher a language, but to re-examine how we read history itself. Maybe not good doesn't mean catastrophic. Maybe it means uncomfortable, a mirror held up to power, both ancient and modern. The stone might be telling us that truth and propaganda, faith and politics, knowledge and myth have always been intertwined. We like to think history is carved in stone. The Rosetta Stone reminds us that even stone can lie. So keep watching the shadows on its surface. Because if Zahi Hawass is right, the Rosetta Stone's final message might not just be about Egypt. It might be about us.